Welcome to High Gluttony. I'm Gretchen.
And I'm Becca. And we're two curious ladies who like to cook,
Smoke,
learn,
and enjoy a meal with friends.
We invite you to join us every 10 days or so here at the High Gluttony Homestead and listen to us make a mess
and have a lot of fun. So step inside, Gluttoniers.
Are you ready for some more Marcella, Gretchen?
I think so. I'm always more for Marcella. I am always ready for more Marcella.
Gretchen's always more for Marcella.
Yep, more.
Every time.
All the time.
All the time. So yes, you guessed it. We are not done with Marcella. We may never be done with Marcella. We're making a very, very intriguing dish today. What is it, Gretchen? Give us our spoiler alert right up front.
You mean the thing we'd have to give away regardless?
That they've already read the title of anyway.
That they know what they're listening to.
Spoil it. Yeah.
Well, we are making Tonnarelli al Melone. So it is Tonnarelli with cantaloupe in particular. Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. What? In a pasta sauce? Oh, what?
Oh, what? Yes. I've never seen pasta sauce with melon before. It's a totally new thing. I am deeply intrigued. I've already eaten the other half of the melon, though. I love melon, but generally I am of I want it raw and maybe with some ham, Cooked melon had not really entered the realm of being a thing in my head. My brother's probably going to tell me when he listens to this episode that he knew about cooked melon all the time. But,
of course,
yeah.
But this is new to us. This absolutely caught our eye. Also, it's one of the few pasta dishes that Marcella slightly, hesitantly, cautiously says it's okay to use dry pasta or store-bought pasta. So we thought that is a +2 because we did not want to get into making fresh pasta today, but we are super intrigued by this sauce. So we're going to make that in a little bit. We are obviously never done talking about Marcella, so we've got some fun stuff to get to from her book. But we were so intrigued too when we read the Victor's Potion cocktail last time that we met and made our walnuts that we were bummed we hadn't read that cocktail beforehand. So we're actually both sipping on some Victor's Potion too.
Mine's a bit of an interpretation of Victor's cocktail because I didn't want to buy Campari and I forgot to buy orange juice or oranges to make orange juice. So I have blood orange concentrate and blood orange vermouth from Mom and Pop. So it's a bit of an interpretation. The rest of it matches what he put in there.
Yeah. And I also don't have orange. I have tangerine instead. But it's really good. I like the bitterness and the sweetness. It also has a little lemon peel, but it's tasty.
Oh, I forgot my garnish, of course.
There's that little mint in there too. Super smooth. I love it. I see why they made it as their appetizer cocktail.
Because it's perfect. It's just light enough. You could add I'm tempted to add a little sparkling water in there just to lighten it up even, since it is mid-afternoon and I could always use more hydration. So,
and this does have vodka in it too. So we always have to be cautious with our vodka in the afternoon.
Water it down.
Water it down. So then what are you smoking while we sip our Victor's Potion and contemplate our cantaloupe?
So from the Pure Beauty brand, I have their CBD Baby mini joint. I am having a little CBD with my nice strong cocktail, so I suppose that's the right combination of things to do. But what are you smoking, Becca?
I'm using a pipe today, and I have some Memberberry, which is a hybrid of skunk berry and mandarin sunset. I don't know why Gretchen's cracking up.
Have you watched South Park? Have you ever watched that?
I have, but not consistently.
I want to say it was the episode, the season's kind of around 2016. They did an episode and I think this was the thing in a couple of episodes, but that it like came to a head in one episode, is this thing called member berries. So like it's named after, I think it has to be named after that.
Sure.
But there's like these little berries that go, do you remember when? And then they like say some like bullshit thing from the past, you know? You remember? So I'm laughing.
I had no context for that.
That's why I was just like, because it's also a hilarious, it's like one of my favorite episodes of South Park, I think. That whole season was pretty like egregious, but also like, oh my God, these guys really, they have the American zeitgeist really pinpointed.
Really yeah. Well, I'll have to watch it. I'll keep smoking this and I'll go watch it when we're done today. And
and you can just watch that one like episode because it doesn't necessarily, as far as I know, it doesn't need context really if you're familiar with the premise of the show.
Okay.
That's great.
Memberberry. Yes, it's Memberberry. Do you remember? And it's got myrcene, caryophyllene, linalool, and then 1.1% CBD, so barely registering, and then 26% THC. And it's enjoyable. I'm feeling kind of relaxed, but also a little energized. So I think it's perfect.
You're gonna member berries. Sorry, sidetrack from our cantaloupe.
Yeah, cantaloupe. Marcella's Italian Kitchen does have obviously a lot of robust explanations and thoughts on each section, and we were both super excited by the pasta section, Gretchen in particular. To be honest, I haven't read much of it, but Gretchen was super thrilled about a lot of the learnings that she had. And as we keep digging into this cookbook, we just keep learning more and more and getting more and more excited about her approach to everything.
So Marcella has some strong opinions about pasta. Seems to be that she really thinks that hand-stretched pasta might be the most superior pasta, but she is willing to admit that if you're getting a quality product from the store or from some sort of vendor, then that is also perfectly acceptable.
Does machine rolled pasta, is that considered hand-stretched in her opinion?
Machine rolled pasta, she considers compressed pasta. She has three main categories that she sees that there are. You've got stretched pasta, you have compressed pasta, and you have extruded pasta. And we're going to focus a little more on the extruded pasta since we are using a store-bought, and most of the store-bought pasta is extruded.
Okay. I'm already learning. This is
great.
Yeah,
that's why I was so excited and was like, can we read all of this? And you're like, remember how it took you a half an hour to read it the other day? You're the one that read it, by the way, to see how long it would take. And it took a half hour.
Yeah, we could read it all, but I don't think anyone will listen to us.
No,
but this is super exciting, and so I'm glad you're pulling out the important bits for us here.
I'm really trying, and only trying to touch on them briefly. So stretched pasta is rolled entirely by hand. You have to use a certain type of rolling pin. It's that like longer, thinner rolling pin. And she says this is important because of the way that pressure is supplied depending on the rolling pin. So we could also do a short little rolling pin sidetrack because if you're using one of the typical ones that you think of a rolling pin where it has a handle and like a block that rolls around the handle, if you are using that to make pasta, she considers that a compressed pasta because typically what you're doing is applying force. Whereas the thinner, like hand rolly kind, you'll see a lot of places using that like long, thin, like, so it's more
like
of a
stick, basically.
It's a stick, yeah. And so like you're stretching the dough more with that than pushing.
I see. She's considering the pushing down compression, which is the machine too. It's kind of like forcing that into a smaller condensed version of itself. Whereas this other rolling pin that's just like a single unit of a roller, it's like a pencil basically, a big pencil. But that just gently kind of pushes the shape out. It stretches it instead of forcing
smashing.
it into
Yeah.
this like a more condensed version. Okay.
Yeah.
I love. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Super excited. Okay, here we go. We just started.
This was
Okay.
very educational. Like, I was like, so many things were just like click, 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 click. And I was like, it took me this long to understand this much about pasta. And she just has a good way of explaining it. So it's just like, oh, I understand. So
It's just
exciting.
so clear.
Yeah.
It's really helpful on the beginner cook side because everything is really clear and really easy to follow. But I'm also still confused, so I'm glad you're here.
So I think maybe I should just start with the very beginning of the pasta section. So I'll read that bit, and then I'm going to jump to the extruded pasta section. We'll talk a little bit about flour and go from there, I think.
Yeah.
I forget.
I think you wanted to specifically mention the type of pasta she recommends for this recipe, which you have, but I don't. So I think we definitely want to make sure we talk about that.
Oh, well, I don't actually have that pasta because I would have to make it myself. I just bought really expensive pasta. So
okay.
We can talk about my expensive pasta that I bought because I was like, ooh, this meets all of Marcella's like criteria. And so I got really excited about it without looking at the price tag and got to the register. And then the girl had to tell the girl that was bagging, like, this is how you put this in if it doesn't have a barcode on it. It's like,
you were like, so it doesn't have a barcode. It's
$10.99. And I was like,
I totally knew it's that expensive when I walked up here. Definitely.
Yeah, totally knew that.
All right, Gretchen, take us off here from the beginning of the Marcella's Italian Kitchen pasta section.
In less than a decade, pasta has risen from the infamy of its spaghetti and meatball days to become a favorite of cooks of all persuasion. Because it is such a simple compound, flour and eggs or flour and water, our attention is naturally drawn to what goes into the sauce or stuffing, and we tend to take for granted the essential component of the dish we are making, the pasta itself. This is regrettable. If we do not clearly perceive the differences in pasta character, if we cannot tell good pasta from bad, we can never master the vast range of expressions of this most versatile and satisfying of all foods. Pasta begins as a mass of dough. Whether or not it is made with eggs or with a particular kind of flour assumes importance only in relation to the method by which it is produced. What we need to distinguish, first of all, is how each method affects the properties of the pasta that are most significant in terms of flavor, the surface, and the body. To become pasta, the original mass of dough must be thin before it is cut or shaped. The thinning process can be accomplished by stretching, compressing, or extruding, the methods that in turn give us our three basic categories of pasta.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to me a little bit more what exactly is meant by surface and body?
I'll try.
If you can. Just the
if
gist.
I can. I'll try. Not because I can't, but I'm also just like, can I explain it in a easy and succinct way?
Yeah.
But
I can guess, but break it down for me a little bit.
Why don't you read the extruded pasta section and see if you might get some answers? I feel like she talks about it in this section. So if she can explain it at least a little bit, she might answer your questions. Okay. But otherwise, if you're still confused, we'll talk about it after. How's that?
Okay. So hold that question.
Hold that question until we've gone through this section. Yeah.
Okay. So extruded pasta, again, because Gretchen said that's kind of what is in our world today with our store-bought pastas. Extruded pasta. When a mass of dough is forced through a perforated die, you have extruded pasta. After extrusion, the pasta must be dried slowly at carefully calibrated temperatures in special chambers. Extruded pasta requires machinery of industrial size, and it is therefore frequently referred to as factory made. The most common examples are spaghetti, rigatoni, ziti, fusilli, penne, and I never know how to say this one, conchile? Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
The part that GL, I think, is li.
Oh, okay. Conchile?
Conchile. Yeah, I guess that, yeah. So basically how you were pronouncing it.
Is that the ear-shaped one?
No, that's archetti.
Oh, okay. All right. But there are dozens of other shapes.
Right. Lots of shapes.
Lots of shapes.
Continue.
The dough for dry factory-made pasta is composed exclusively of selected hard wheat flours and water. Since these are the only ingredients, the quality of each shows up in the finished product. Another important factor is the perforated die. Bronze dies produce a rough surface to which pasta can cling. Okay. Teflon coated dies are easier to maintain and speed production, but they impart a slick, uninteresting texture. High quality factory pasta is as fine a product as the best homemade pasta. Whoa, it is different as wool is from silk, neither better nor worse. Sadly, it has become fashionable to snub macaroni in favor of so-called fresh pasta. Anyone doing so is turning away from one of the most remarkable foods ever devised by any cuisine.
I mean, she has strong feelings about pasta. I guess I wasn't giving her enough credit because she did say that she kind of admires them all to a certain extent.
She's a pasta fan. Yeah. Factory pasta ought to have the pale gold color and flavor of good hard wheat, a faintly rough texture, and an exceptionally compact body that maintains its firmness in cooking while swelling considerably in size. To my knowledge, none that fulfills all these requirements is manufactured outside Italy.
She has a point.
There's always that real layer of truth there to everything Marcella says. Egg dough can be extruded, but it is better suited to be stretched or compressed methods. In recent years, the market has seen the coming of extruding machines for home use. I am pained to think that because of their enthusiasm for pasta, people have ended up buying these devices.
Now, here's the judgment. I was like, wow, Marcella, real judgy.
Whoa, opinions. Yeah. Flour and eggs go in at one end. You push a button, and what comes out at the other end can be called pasta only in the loosest usage of the word.
I know. Right?
Oh my gosh. She's not done. It is a gummy substance of no gastroeconomic interest whatever. No more damaging blow to good Italian cooking has ever been struck.
Ever been struck.
God. Never to be recovered.
Shame on you.
Shame. Get your
shame.
On.
We need a bell. We need a shame bell.
We need a shame bell. Whew, okay. Last sentence about extruding here. Home extruders may have a place in the history of man's infatuation with gadgetry, but they have no place in a kitchen.
None. Don't you dare.
Don't you dare. Get it out of here.
Makes me way less keen to use my extruder attachment for my KitchenAid. I'm like, oh no, Marcella would be like, no, never.
Oh, she'd walk out of your kitchen. She'd just walk out.
Like, nope. What are you doing? Absolutely not.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right, so now the surface and the body. So the body's a little bit more like what the thickness or shape kinds of ends up being.
Yeah.
And then the surface is how well the sauce sticks to that.
Precisely.
Perfect. Okay, so then could you close this out with her flour section and then why this particular noodle she mentions for this pasta is really cool?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am going to read her flour ingredient dissertation, but we got a little bit of it in the extruded pasta section. As Elizabeth David has demonstrated magnificently, one can write a volume about varieties of flour. And when we focus on Italian cooking, however, and specifically on pasta, we limit our field to two basic kinds: soft wheat, unbleached, all-purpose flour, or durum, or hard wheat flour, also known as semolina, or in Italian, semola, the first being white, the second pale yellow. Each of the two varieties has its virtues and its drawbacks. For the classic pasta of Bologna, stretched by hand with a pin, only soft wheat flour is used. It is lower in gluten than semolina, hence it is easier to hand stretch. Soft wheat has a gentler, warmer fragrance than that of semolina's, which is faintly sharp. The sweet-smelling pasta it produces is plumper in body and of a fluffier consistency than any made with durum wheat flour. On the other hand, it requires the utmost heedfulness in cooking because it can quickly pass that dangerous line from firm to overdone. Semolina has so much tough gluten that it is next to impossible to stretch by hand in the Bolognese manner. It is more suitable for flat pasta compressed by a non-extruding home machine or for such industrial extruded shapes such as spaghetti or fusilli. Pasta made with semolina flour is never as downy as the soft wheat kind, but makes up for it with a body tautly knit and admirably compact. It accepts an extraordinary variety of sauces and cooks to a perfect al dente, firm to the bite consistency. When buying semolina, one must look out for flour that is ground too coarse. Unfortunately, much of it is, including some brands that are sold as pasta flour. It should be talcum soft to the touch and impalpable, like other flour. Otherwise, it will be difficult to work with. At home, I use semolina when I want extra firmness, such as Tonnarelli. More frequently, I use an all-purpose unbleached flour, which makes pasta closer to that made at home in Bologna. The choice, however, depends on one's preferences. Both flours make equally valid pasta. Super informative.
Super informative. There's so many thoughts in my head. But first, I had no idea semolina and durum were the same thing.
I didn't either. I don't know how I didn't know that. I thought they were almost the same thing, but I had no idea they were exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like an idiot.
And so then when she says soft wheat, like, is that all-purpose flour?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So anything that's not semolina or durum is a soft wheat, essentially? Yes. Okay.
And there's another, like the type 00 flour.
Yeah.
That you can find, that's like the softest. So that would be something that you would use, like that you would buy specifically to use to make like a hand stretched dough.
That'd be kind of cool to try. So she just lumps that in with the soft wheats then. She doesn't like call it out as its own thing.
No, I mean, I think that when we eventually talk about stretched pasta, I think she talks about it a bit. Yeah, she talks about it in that sense.
I see. Okay. So now we have to make a gnocchi from her, a risotto from her, and a fresh stretched soft wheat pasta.
Woo!
The Tonnarelli, you said, has to be hand stretched.
Right, because the shape of it is square. This is her description of what it should look like, because it should be exactly square. So it has like the most surface area, even compared to like a round noodle. You'll get the most sauce clinging, but it's just not a shape that like anybody's making in anywhere else. You have spaghetti. Spaghetti is close enough, and even in the recipe we're using, she says it's a good substitute. I just think it's interesting because now I want to make square pasta.
Right. Of course you do. Yeah.
Not rectangles.
Do you have that pin that doesn't have any hand? Of course you do. Yeah.
I have two different ones like that. One that I was using as my muddler for a while, which I think I'm probably still using as my muddler. But yes, I had the right style pin to do that. I have a much deeper appreciation of doing it by hand, and why you would do it by hand using a soft wheat. It was like, oh, for fuck's sake, why wouldn't I have thought that? You wouldn't use the same kind of flour for a hand stretched noodle versus pressed by machine.
Yeah. So if we were to make a home spaghetti again, would we not use semolina?
No, she said that if we were doing it completely by hand, no. But if we were putting it through the pasta machine, yes.
It just has to be that really fine ground.
Right. Yeah. Semolina, yes.
Sure.
Don't get the like larger grain stuff, which is good to have around for doing the rolling out part, because it will not incorporate into the pasta the same way, but it isn't the grind you'd want to be using to put into the pasta you're making.
So. I see. Okay. Yeah, that was super helpful. That was the most knowledge I've gained about pasta in my whole life in like 10 minutes.
I know, right?
Right. You did a great job summarizing it. Thank you so much.
I tried. I really tried. I mean, I'm glad you reined me in and said, why are we reading this entire section? And I went,
Yeah, there is a lot here. And so obviously we'll come back to it. We're going to make fresh pasta. She also mentions the only other things you can put in pasta are spinach or Swiss chard. So maybe we'll do that.
Yeah.
Those are literally the only things she says. And then, well, yeah, like we keep saying, we'll never be done with Marcella, but in Marcella we trust and we just keep going forward. But should we read the ingredients for our Tonnarelli al Melone?
Yes, okay. We should. Because I think you understand it. I'll read the ingredients and you can read the steps this time.
Whoa!
Mixing it up, people.
Also, this is like a pop quiz. I wasn't expecting this twist up. So here we go.
Good luck. Better get 100%. Otherwise, teacher's going to be mad. So our ingredients are 4 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 3 cups of cantaloupe, diced into 1/4 inch cubes. Ooh, I did mine considerably larger than that, so I hope I didn't fuck this up.
I forgot to get butter out.
Oh, that doesn't matter as much. Like it can be cold because you're just gonna melt it and use it to saute, so it's fine.
Delicious.
And 1 cup of heavy cream, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and a half teaspoon of tomato paste, salt, pepper, and Tonnarelli or store-bought pasta. And we went with store-bought, and I bought my expensive stuff because it looked really nice. Like it had lots of nooks and crannies. Like it has a texture to it. So I was like, oh, maximum sauce holding because
that's a good body and surface for
for
sauce collection. It looks like extra long stretched thin fusilli.
Yeah, it's quite cool. It's really cool. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be good.
Yeah, it looks super fun. Okay, do you want to do equipment?
Yes. So we just need a saute pan and a pot of boiling water for our pasta. So we've already got our pot of boiling water going, or at least mine's boiling. I don't know where Becca's at, but mine boiled already.
Nice and warm bathy.
And a cutting board to cut up your melon, but this is very easy. Like we should be able to knock this out in 15 minutes tops.
Awesome. We got this. And so world level
2.
1 to 2.
Yeah.
Cutting the cantaloupe.
Yeah.
It's scary to cut melons sometimes. Yeah. Okay. My first time doing steps. Okay. Our steps are, we are going to heat up the butter and oil and add the cantaloupe until soft. So that, I think that's high heat. And then we will add our cream, and that's okay at high heat. Add cream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Add our cream, our lemon juice, our tomato paste, and then reduce down to half or 1/4 of the volume. So that comes down quite a bit. And then we add our salt and pepper to taste. Then we remove from the heat. I think simultaneous to this, we'll be cooking our pasta because I'm guessing she's assuming fresh pasta, which takes like a second because she says cook pasta and then toss in. But we might also be cooking our pasta while we're heating our sauce up or cooking our sauce. So once your pasta is done, throw that into the sauce and then serve immediately. No Parmesan or anything. Very,
very
simple,
basic.
Very just, you're putting cantaloupe in your pasta sauce.
Cantaloupe and pasta sauce.
And we have already cut up our cantaloupe, like Gretchen said, maybe in the right shape. I think mine are much bigger than that too, because I was being kind of lazy.
Mine might be closer to 1 inch. Well, I think it can also be kind of related to the size of your pasta. So I guess it's kind of good that I got like a thicker pasta, because if you're using the spaghetti or the Tonnarelli is going through the finer of the 2 cutters on your pasta machine if you're making it. And so that would be finer. So like you wouldn't want chunks like that size with that sort of noodle situation.
Sure. But a spaghetti can take a chunk.
Yeah, spaghetti and meatballs for a reason.
Right. Exactly. I think we got this. Yeah. Okay. My water is pretty close to boiling. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. And Gretchen's only doing half the recipe.
Because I'm by myself on my own.
And she's unsure about the cantaloupe piece of this.
I can't imagine how it's going to be bad. I'm just not sure if I'm going to like it.
Yeah, going out on a limb here.
But it was just so intriguing that, as you said, in Marcella we trust.
Yeah, in Marcella we trust.
My butter sizzling there.
Sounds
Waiting
so
for it
good.
to melt it down here. And I've got it over the high heat. So adding that vegetable oil helps raise the smoke point of your butter so that you're not going to get it too hot and not be able to saute your melon as effectively.
That's very cool. I remember you saying that that's one of the things she recommends all the time when you're sauteing something is to do that combo.
Yes, with butter, yes. If you want the butter saute.
Gotcha. And you already told me that your pasta is from Italy. Tell me more.
I mean, there's nothing on this label that's in English even.
Definitely Italian.
I wonder it's $12.
Well,
Okay.
you know it would be Marcella approved.
Yep. Okay, my pot is now reboiling. All right, looks like my oil butter is ready over here, so going in with my cantaloupe.
Your lopes?
Going in with my lope. How did you know I was thinking that in my head?
I just could tell.
Get out of my brain. It's scary.
I know.
Scary. Awesome.
I know. I think I've told you this before, but there's a line in King of the Hill where the niece and the mom are talking and they like say the same thing at the same time or something. And the mom goes, "Get out of my head, Luann." And I think about that all the time whenever I do like a mind sync with somebody. Get out of my head, Luann.
All right, I'm putting my pasta in because it says it's supposed to cook for 10 to 12 minutes. So I think that's going to pretty much put me at the spot where my sauce will be done.
Okay.
I wonder how much browning you're supposed to get. I feel like she wasn't that specific on that.
On the lopes?
On the melon, yeah. Because she really just said it's supposed to tenderize more than anything else.
So just added my cantaloupe. Lots of sizzle sounds happening.
Sizzle, 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 sizzle.
I'm kind of feeling a little nervous about the big chunks of cantaloupe now.
Why?
Well, I get why they'd be small, because then it would get like a little more saucy. I'm just going to have like big chunks of cantaloupe.
I don't know. Just keep telling yourself. Marcella,
okay, you're right.
But I think I'm pretty soft, so I'm going to go ahead with my cream and everything.
Okay, lots of sizzle over there.
Yeah, that was me putting the lemon in. Now I'll go with my cream.
Okay.
I have a feeling I've gone too brown. It is quite brown. And I think if the pieces were smaller, they would have cooked, like sauteed a little faster without getting the browning. But
oh, sure.
Because, wow, this is going to reduce really fast. Especially since I've got a 13-inch pan over here instead of a 10 or 12. So
sure.
Surface area galore. So even my pasta sauce is done way before my noodles.
Mine are taking a bit to cook or to soften just because they're so thick.
All right, I'm going to put a little pepper in.
Okay.
Because I think mine's reduced by at least half.
Wow.
And since we're going with the store-bought pasta, Marcella recommends that we reduce it to a quarter. Should just need another couple minutes.
Okay.
And I think my sauce is done. Looks good, though.
It's so pretty.
Is yours brown?
Okay. No, not at all. Mine's barely softened.
My sauce is very brown. Really good browning on mine.
Yeah.
I must have gotten my oil heat higher than yours.
Yeah.
Got a little browning in my butter, maybe too.
It tastes delicious.
Yeah, I think I like it. I'm just not sure I got what I'm supposed to get over here.
Sure.
So I feel like it's supposed to be more of like a white with pieces of the orange melon in it. Oh, but oil is hot, but not smoking. Mine was definitely smoking by the time I added the melon.
Oh, and therein lies our predicament.
And unfortunately, I've eaten the rest of the melon except for one slice. I can't start over.
No. You're in it now.
I am in it now. It's fine.
Okay, I just put my noodles in the water.
Okay.
I'm about 10 minutes behind. And I have yet to add my cream or lemon or anything over here.
Oh, well.
I think I am now. I've got just a teeny bit of browning happening. So I'm going to go lemon, cream, tomato paste. I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah, so I have a feeling you're supposed to end up with like a peachy colored cream.
Sure.
With these nice, like, delicate peach chunks in it.
But you have like a brown thing.
I have a brown sauce.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know, your tomato paste. It's not enough tomato paste to have an effect. Yeah.
No, maybe I'll have to just buy another melon tomorrow and try it again.
Do it over. Yeah.
Yeah. See where I can end up. This pasta does not cook quickly, though. Guess I should taste it before I pass judgment on where its doneness is. But as soon as it's done, I'm just going to lift it right out of the water and toss it into the sauce.
So you turned your heat down on your sauce and then added your salt and pepper?
Correct.
Okay.
I think I'm going to give my pasta like maybe 2 more minutes. Oh, the fork went right through that one, so maybe that means it's time.
Okay, you're putting your pasta in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Those weird shaped pasta, it's like, what is the right tool to get this out of here?
Yeah, really.
I've gone with tongs because this does seem to be the most logical choice.
Okay. All right, I've reduced to about half. I'm going to turn my heat down. You just turned it down to low.
No, I turned mine off.
Turned it
just
off
because it was like
so hot.
Yeah, it was reducing so much. It's like, okay. Has a really, like, it's sweet smelling.
Mm-hmm. It's probably going to be pretty sweet. It's going to be interesting. I feel like I'm going to like it.
I think I am too.
I think you will. I think you're going to be surprised.
Just as I like to say, it's not a combo I would ever have considered, you know? Doesn't mean it's bad or wrong.
I'm doing my generous grinding of pepper.
Maybe I just need to put a little more salt in it.
Yeah.
And do a little pepper. I don't know that I've done enough pepper. I might have chop a little basil and put on top of this.
Ooh, yum. I was surprised there was no herb.
Maybe I should taste it before I get all judgy about what should go in there.
There you go. Maybe it's just perfection.
Yeah. Into a bowl we go. Well, I still don't know how I feel about this, and I've eaten several pieces now.
Yeah.
I obviously don't hate it, but
Yeah, because you keep eating it.
I keep eating it. It's really interesting.
I ended up adding a little bit of pasta water.
Oh, I definitely, because I was just picking it out of the pot and putting it in there. Yeah, definitely was adding pasta water as well.
Okay. I might do a little more pepper now that the noodles are in.
I really don't know how to feel about this.
This is so interesting. Okay, what do you like about it?
So you get this really interesting, fruity notes, but also complex savory flavors and a hearty punch of pepper.
What don't you like about it?
It might be a little too sweet.
Okay.
I almost would want to do a little saute of some onions in with the melon.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit more complexity.
That makes sense. I was wondering too if you would do a little bit less cantaloupe and maybe a little bit more tomato paste or something. Would that change the balance too much?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I still haven't stopped eating it either, so.
So it's enticing but confusing, it sounds like.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's enticing but confusing.
Do you think your palate's just so shocked by a sweet pasta sauce?
Maybe. That could be part of it.
Yeah.
Just that it's, a bit more to a dessert side.
So unfamiliar as a a pasta course.
Or adding, maybe adding a little bit of pancetta or something, just to make it a little bit more, give it a ham component. Could work too.
Maybe a little Parmesan and maybe some fresh basil would it wouldn't make the sweetness so much the focus, but I really like it. I actually really like it.
I think it's winning me over.
Oh my gosh. I wonder too if it settles a little bit more.
Well, I'm sure the flavor is gonna develop over time too. So
sure. I think I love this.
I can't stop eating it.
It's interesting because I think about there are some tomato sauces that add sugar, and this just kind of does it for you. I bet it would be good with fresh pasta. Real delicate.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's winning me over. I mean, it's not something I'm gonna make all the time. This is not my preferred way to consume melon.
No. You're not a hot melon fan now.
No, but if I'm I'm bored of eating melon like this, I'll know what to do with it,
Yeah. I don't know if this is because of the color, but it kind of reminds me of an Amy's mac and cheese for some reason.
Probably the color, yeah.
Probably the color. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I think we like it.
Successful experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, in Marcella we trust. And this was from Marcella's Italian Kitchen. We'll get the recipe up. We'll try. We'll get our thoughts up, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll try to put some pictures up.
We always try. We try.
And thank you for joining us, Gluttoniers. Another fun adventure at the homestead.
Yeah, so excited to have you all with us, and rate, review, subscribe, do all the things, help other people find us, and
be annoying about it. Tell everybody repeatedly till they either listen or never want to talk to you again. Those are the only options.
Only options.
Up we go! Give me the lope pasta.